I'm not defensive about it.
Yes, people, what's happening? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. First things first, guys, make sure you smash the like, subscribe if you're new around here, all of that good stuff. And as always, leave your thoughts in the comments. And today I'm joined by Luke from Up the Villa, and we're going to be discussing the future of Morgan Rogers. Will he or won't he be leaving Villa? Is there a possibility he comes to Chelsea? Could Nicolas Jackson be swapping Stamford Bridge for Villa Park? So we've got a few things to get into. Luke, first of all, mate, how you doing? You good?
Yeah, buzzing, mate. Don't like you talking about Rodgers like that, though.
Let's get straight into it, mate. Obviously, you know, Villa have had a bit of a quiet summer so far. Not really any signings to improve the first team. There's been a few PSR issues, FFP issues, talks of a big sale needed in order to for you guys to step into the market and start improving and investing in the team. Two players really that are getting mentioned are Emi Martinez in goal and obviously Morgan Rogers. Villa have obviously maintained that Rogers is not for sale. He's untouchable or whatever. But the links with Chelsea sort of don't go away. We know that Chelsea, we admire the player. We like him. He'd be a dream target, I think I've seen put out there the other day. Obviously, I know you'd rather, as a Villa fan, you'd prefer to sell Martinez than Rogers. Where are Villa at with Morgan Rogers right now? Is it very much kind of business as usual? Are there any concerns that he could look to leave? I mean, I don't look at Rogers right now and think he's a sort of player that is angling for a move that would want to force his way out or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, Rodgers for Villa is like you said, the word untouchable. Like, I don't think anyone could prize Rodgers away from Emery. Like, Rodgers and Emery, that's like the golden partnership. Emery loves him. It's his guy. He signed him from the Championship. So, yeah, it would be very, very difficult in this window to get Rodgers. I think the big thing for Villa is it's not about the fee that we're after in this window. It's about the wages being offloaded. So we can spend money. PSR, we're absolutely fine. We could have losses next summer up to £93 million for PSR losses. That's fine. But under UEFA at the minute, we're working in a little bit of a plan. I think you've got some sort of plan with UEFA as well to steady the wages, and for Villa it's exactly the same. So why someone like Martinez is linked with a move away, he's on 180 grand a week, Villa's highest earner. If you get that off the wage bill, then it gives you additional wages to sign a younger goalkeeper for considerably less money. So that's generally where Villa are at the minute. It's our wage structure that it's a bit of a problem with UEFA having that sort of wage structure ratio when you're trying to compete in Europe. So at the minute, I think we kind of struggle to register a brand new top signing because of our wage structure, basically.
So am I right in saying that realistically, I mean, I know there's been links of Ollie Watkins potentially leaving, but is it really one of those three that's got to go, whether it's a Rogers, a Martinez or a Watkins? Would you expect one of those three to leave this summer?
I would more than likely expect Martinez to leave. If anybody's going to leave, I think it will be Martinez. There's just too much noise around him and Man United for me. Constantly it's Man United, and there's little snippets in the Argentinian press that come out about certain aspects of his contract, and there's just far too much noise. So I would say, even though he's like a great goalkeeper for Villa, for me, he'd probably be the one because of how much he's on. Watkins, again, if he was to leave, then you're going to have to replace him with somebody of his caliber, or if not better, with more longevity going into, we've signed Watkins, we had him from the Championship, so we've had like a decent amount of years from him. So I don't think he will go either. And then we've got players like Jacob Ramsey, who have been linked with Nottingham Forest. He could potentially leave, but again, his wages aren't that high. So you're not really going to sort of like get him off the wage bill and then it make a massive dent into it, really. So same with Rodgers. Like, if Rodgers was to leave, his wages aren't that high. So again, he's not one of the top earners at Villa.
Mate, talk to me about Rodgers. Obviously, we've seen he's obviously come on leaps and bounds since he joined you boys from Middlesbrough. Obviously, he can play 10, can play left. He's versatile. He ticks a lot of boxes. Top player. Obviously, how much money? I know it's not about the transfer fee for Villa, but if a Chelsea, for example, were to come in, were to try, and they were to test Villa's resolve and maybe give Rodgers and the club something to think about, what sort of fee do you think Villa would accept? Because I've read things saying maybe 80, 90 million pounds. Are we talking of that sort of money, or are we talking potentially more?
Yeah, I think you'd be talking about 100. I think that would be the figure. I think that would be the figure that Villa would entertain a conversation for. Like, he's one of our best players. I probably wouldn't say he is our best player, because I think he's still got a lot of growth within his game. I think he still needs to develop in certain areas. I think his decision making needs to improve. So, we all know how good he is, like dribbling with the ball, and that's probably something that like a lot of Chelsea fans will have noticed. But he needs to decide when's the right time to dribble and not just dribble. And sometimes he'll lose the ball on the edge of the box by trying to dribble out from the 18-yard box. And so those type of things he needs to improve on. Last summer, I was critical of his striking of the ball. I thought it was a little bit, wasn't very clean. It was a bit, it scuff a lot, and he's really improved on his striking of the ball. A lot of his shots are now starting to go on target, scoring a lot of goals. I think sometimes he could improve his composure slightly in front of goal as well. So he's not the finished article. So again, from a Villa fan's point of view, I think this season he can kick on and grow and get better and better. But I think if I'm an onlooker, I would say he's quite similar to João Pedro. So that would be why I would maybe think you might not sign him, because they're quite similar. I don't know whether you agree with that.
In terms of where he plays, right? Obviously, I know he started a lot of games on the left for you. He has played as a 10 as well. I mean, maybe sometimes he can even play down the middle as well, as a bit of not as a proper 9, but you know what I mean. If we signed him, I think the idea would be for him probably to mainly operate off the left-hand side. I mean, where would you say his best position is?
For us, his best position is off the striker. So we play 4-4-2, Watkins up top, him off the striker as a 10, floating around the front line, but doing a lot of damage straight down the middle. Villa play very vertical, so we go straight through from centre-back to central midfielder. ROGERS, half turn, driving forward in that space behind, say, someone's double pivot and their defence. That's where he operates. He can play on the left. I think for Villa, if he doesn't play off Watkins, then I think on the left would be his next best position. But I think he does a lot more damage when he's sort of on the width for the 18-yard box, finding that little pocket, and then that's when he can start dribbling and just sort of like bumping off midfielders, and that's where I think he's best. Sometimes in quite tight spaces, that's where you get the best out of him. Tuchel has played him on the right, and Emery's played him on the right, but he's not as effective on the right for me. So down the middle or on the left, but even if he's on the left for Villa, he's not sort of like wide left. He's in sort of like an infield left little pocket. So sort of him out wide, trying to drive at a fullback, that's not the best out of him either. I think he's better playing more central. Probably like the width for the 18-yard box is where he ideally operates.
I mean, do you think that him and Cole Palmer could exist in the same team? Because obviously Palmer is going to play centrally, but he has played on the right. Certainly during the Club World Cup, we've kind of experimented a little bit. We've sort of almost moved a little bit away from having kind of two touchline wingers that has normally been traditional with Maresca. And we've seen Palmer out there. We've seen, he's not really an out-and-out touchline winger. We've seen Nkunku play a lot more as well, but generally sort of more players that, all right, they'll line up in the wide position, but they'll drift in and whatnot. Could you see a situation where, if Palmer plays centrally for Chelsea, and even a hypothetical world Rodgers was going to come, he could play on that left-hand side, drifting into the middle? Is that something you could see working?
Yeah, possibly. I mean, who would have the celebration though? That's the thing. Like,
Oh yeah.
would Palmer give it back to him, or I don't know. But yeah, I think that could work. I imagine that they've played together before at Man City as well, so I guess they have that good sort of connection of working together. I imagine they're friends as well. So yeah, I think it could possibly work. Yeah.
I mean, look, I'm right now. I mean, from a Chelsea perspective, I'd love it to happen, but I'm still putting it down as very, very unlikely. However, Chelsea and Villa have done business before. We're not afraid to do that. Nicolas Jackson's a player that we're not too sure on his future at Chelsea. I mean, reports are saying that he wants to stay at the club, but there is well documented interest from Man United and also Aston Villa are linked. We know that Unai Emery was kind of the guy that brought him through at Villarreal. Could you see Nicolas Jackson move into Villa Park? Maybe not as part of a ROGERS deal, but I'm sure if Villa wanted to accelerate their interest and made it serious, that Chelsea would see if they could do it as a, them sort of deals that isn't really a swap, but they're two separate transactions, but they're linked sort of thing. Do you see Villa accelerating their interest in Jackson, or do you think it is just Emery likes him, but we're probably not going to move for him?
I actually think there's I wouldn't say something in that, but I do think Villa would be looking at someone like Jackson. There's been the rumours, haven't there, like Jackson, Villa, etc. So I looked into it, and a lot of Jackson's numbers are very similar to Watkins, and we're talking about sort of like non-penalty goals, assists, progressive passes, touches in the attacking penalty area, They're very, very similar. So I actually feel like if we were to get rid of Watkins, Jackson might be somebody that Villa look at. And I mean, they've got a good relationship. I think Jackson said before last season that he owes everything to Unai Emery for making him the player that he is or something. So I think sometimes in football, when managers work with certain players, they do get that little bit of a connection. And sometimes you see players go into certain clubs when the manager that they've worked at is there before. So I actually think there could be something in that, but it depends how much, obviously, he would be valued at. Because, I mean, I don't know. We could spend 40 on him maybe, but I've seen reports of 60.
Chelsea, look, I think the only way Chelsea would accept 40 million from Villa is if there was some sort of agreement in regards to ROGERS as well. Because Chelsea, look, for Jackson, if you look at the price that players like that have gone for this summer, we're looking at the 55s and the 60s. Your Joao Pedros, your Maduekes, your players like that. And Buemo, I mean, obviously went for slightly more, but you're looking at that round that figure, 50, 55, 60 million pounds. I personally don't see, I mean, you'll know your finances better than me, but I don't see Villa being able to spend sort of 55, 60 million quid on a Nicolas Jackson outright, for example. Would that be fair?
Well, it'd have to be if Watkins leaves. So
yeah,
if Watkins left for 60, then he's on 135 grand a week. He's on more than what Jackson. He's on around 100 grand a week at Chelsea, Jackson.
Yeah, if that. Probably around. I mean, I don't know for certain, but he's not on like loads in comparison to what other players would be on.
I mean, every time we get linked with a striker, everybody goes, it's depending on what happens with Ollie Watkins. So if Watkins stays at Villa, Villa aren't signing another striker. So it's as simple.
Oh, so you'll just have one centre forward.
Yeah, and then I think we'll be looking at someone of a younger mould to learn, a bit like Duran, but maybe not as crazy.
Yeah.
So because I think for Villa, like, we're not in a position where we can have like two first team strikers, one on the bench, one because they want to play. So with our system, we only play with one striker. So it would be sort of like an understudy type striker.
I mean, would, for example, Watkins out, Jackson, and is that something you think would actually be, would that be good for Villa? Or is that an improvement, do you think?
No, I don't think it's an improvement. I think it would probably be something quite similar. Like their numbers are very similar. You look at every metric across football, compare Jackson and Watkins, they're pretty hitting the same type of numbers. So I think it would be very, very similar. Like Jackson misses chances, Watkins misses chances. Like they're so similar with what they are. And critics of probably both players will be critiquing the same type of thing that happens during a 90-minute performance, really.
Yeah, no, I hear it. I think I think Jackson's a lot better than what people make him out to be. He's actually important to how we play. He creates a lot of chances. He causes a lot of issues. Yes, he misses a lot of chances, and for a striker, his finishing's probably the weakest part of his game, which is not really what you're looking for. But he brings a lot more to the table than just that. But you're like really with a striker, you're certainly sort of going to want goals, and his playing and around the box, and he's finishing in. He will score, but you probably need to create quite a few chances for him. So
yeah, it's like that's like you're describing Watkins there. He has a lot of chances per game, and he goes through mad purple patches, and then patches where Watkins could score 7 goals in 7 games and then not score in 7 games. That's what Watkins does. And yeah, so it's a bit mad, really, but yeah.
Yeah, no, it'll be interesting. I mean, just last thing, mate. Obviously, I know there's still well over a month, or there's probably about 6 weeks of the window left. But as we're recording this now, are you pretty confident that Morgan Rogers will be an Aston Villa player come September 1st?
Yeah, I'd say my percentage would be like 96%.
Yeah,
confident that he stays. Yeah. Funny things in football can happen, can't they? But we were going through that period, when June 30th, PSR, nobody came in for any of our players. Nobody did us dirty. Teams could have gone, we'll give you 50 million for someone, and nobody did it. So I don't know whether that's Villa sort of standing firm on valuations of players, or just basically saying no one's for sale, that we don't want to get rid of, really.
Yeah, no, I hear it. I've got I think we might try, because look, we're looking at Xavi Simons, and obviously we like Rogers. But if you're going to wait and try for Rogers, then you have to accept that you could easily miss out on Xavi Simons. So Chelsea got a decision to sort of make between the two of them there. I wouldn't be surprised if we made an approach, or made an informal offer, or formal approach, whatever it is. But as much as I'd love this to happen, I still think this is very, very unlikely. But do you feel, mate, that it's a little bit like Newcastle with Isak? Are you sort of resigned to the fact that he obviously will go at some point? And do you think that this coming season could potentially be his last one at Villa?
It depends. I think it depends on what happens with Villa next season. If Villa can keep going, if we were to win the Europa League or qualify for the Champions League again, then we're in a really strong position. So I think with Emery, we're always going to be in and around where we were last year, and we lost out on. I think we lost out on like goal difference.
You lost out on goal difference, yeah.
So like, mate, we lost out on goal. We lost out on Champions League football on goal difference. So it's mad. So we've got to just I think we'll still be in and around it, but it's just one of them.
Yeah, no, I hear you. We'll keep an eye on it. We'll keep an eye on it right up until the September 1st deadline. As you say, in football, you never know. But yeah, I think it would probably take a lot of money, and it would require Rodgers to sort of push for the move as well. I don't sort of really get the impression that he's the sort of player that would do that. But we'll wait and see. But mate, thanks so much for your time as always. Always good to catch up. Mate, let the people know where to find you if they don't know.
Yeah, Up the Villa on YouTube, so you can check us out on there.
Guys, make sure you go and subscribe. Loads of great content over there. Channel will be tagged in the title. Once again, mate, thanks a lot. Guys, smash the like, subscribe if you're new around here, all of that good stuff, and I'll catch you again in another one soon.